Good morning. Welcome back to the morning show right here on Channel 18. I'm kicking with Chris Buckley of the Here and Now. We just got a nice jam as we went off to commercial last time. That was pretty incredible. We're going to hear a little more and talk a little more. But first, a big thanks to the YMCA of the Rockies Snow Mountain Ranch. Check them out at snowmountainranch.org. And a big, is it Locals Day coming up?
Locals Day coming up.
Locals Day on July 30th. Free admission. And go check out everything they got going on out there, including the summertime tubing hill, if you can imagine.
I don't think the tubing hill's free.
Tubing hill's not free.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, either way, you can check it out. You know, you can always look.
Putt,
don't touch. But rock climbing, putt, lots of hiking, biking, beautiful, beautiful area. So snowmountainranch.org. Check them out. So Chris, awesome tune going to commercial there. Is that a traditional?
Yeah, it's a traditional jig, written maybe 30, 40 years ago by a fellow in the tradition. We just call him Father Kelly.
Nice.
So we call it Father Kelly's jig. There's a couple other names for it. You know, that's pretty typical. You know, one person calls one tune one thing, and somebody else calls it another, and somebody else can't remember any of the names of the tune.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Hey, it's what it makes you do. It's great. You just want to get up and dance and stomp your foot, man.
That's what I mean. They're all dance tunes. So
how's this church? You know, in the church, are we expecting kind of a sit-down crowd, or are people going to be hopping around, or what kind of a performance we do?
When we play concerts like that, it's usually a sit-down crowd. But we encourage hand clapping, and you're always going to hear toe tapping. I mean, I was tapping my toes, you know, as I was playing the tune.
Kind of gets the beat going for everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's meant to have, you know, a really good, really enjoyable time.
Yeah.
So we want people to smile and have a really fun time.
I want to touch on your instrument here, and I don't know much about fiddles. Sure. Outside of I dated a violin player in high school. That's about as far as I get with fiddles. But so what's going on with the fiddle that you're playing here?
So the fiddle that I play is a very old instrument, and when we record, that's how some people will credit their instruments and instrument makers. When I credit this fiddle, I just call it a very old fiddle. It was made the latter portion of the 18th century. 1792 is the date that's on the tag inside the instrument.
Cow. So it's not patterned after one back then. It actually is.
It is, yeah. And the name on the tag is Galliano. And Galliano were a family of makers that existed at that time.
Any relation to the liqueur? Galliano on the rocks, please. You know.
Yeah, I didn't do enough homework.
You ever drinking any Galliano?
I've had some Galliano.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It is interesting. Okay. You're right. It's definitely an acquired taste.
So a Galliano-made fiddle. Mm-hmm. How much of it would be original, and how much? I mean, obviously, it had to be tuned up and.
There's a significant portion of this instrument is original. I mean, there are things like the tailpiece here, the button here. Those are probably newer things. The chin rest, I'm sure, is a newer addition at some point. But the body of the fiddle itself, the back and the belly and all of that, it's definitely original.
Now, I think I know the answer before I ask because it's probably priceless. But is there a value on something like this?
There is. I've had this appraised a couple of different times.
Is it insured?
It is insured.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not even approaching the realm of, sort of like Italian master fiddles. So it's not even close to a Stradivari, it's not even close to a Guarneri, anything like that. It's enough, it's valued high enough where I have it insured, and I take the utmost care because of something were to happen to it. I don't, it's not replaceable. And I mean, not just from a financial standpoint, but from an emotional and I mean, I've been playing this fiddle since I finished high school, and there's a connection there.
So I wonder that, like a lot of concerts, you see, the musician has 5 guitars on stage, and they keep picking up different ones. Are you playing different fiddles, or is this your fiddle?
I have 2 primary fiddles.
Okay.
So I have a fiddle that has a pickup built into it. So when I have to plug in and play through a PA or any sort of system on stage,
you can play electric and
and when we do a lot of road work, that's the fiddle that comes with me because we're on the move a lot. We're loading in, loading out, all that kind of stuff, and so things get bumped around, knocked around. That's a newer instrument. It's a little bit less fragile than this one is. But when we do acoustic shows, house concerts, things like what we're going to do in the Fraser Historic Church, this is definitely the instrument of choice.
And would you say new fiddles, do they do a good job of recreating the sound of a a more authentic
It's
fiddle.
a different sound, you know, and a lot of it has to do with the wood that's used to make the instruments. Newer fiddles, not always, but sometimes are made with newer wood, you know, and obviously this wood is quite old, and as you play a fiddle in, you know, the resonance just opens that wood up more and more and more, so the sound of the fiddle opens up more and more and more.
And
So,
you guys...
but there's some phenomenal makers out there right now that are doing really great things.
August 9th is the concert you got going on here in Fraser, but that's
Yes.
not just it. It's not
No.
You're not just bouncing into town, playing a gig and getting out of here. You guys are actually doing a little tour right through Colorado. I think I saw Crested Butte.
We're on about a 2-week tour through Colorado, New Mexico, and then finishing up back in Texas. So the Fraser concert starts things off, you know, and
So that'll be the kickoff to the tour.
Yeah.
And then you're just kind of working your way. I remember seeing Crested Butte, Taos, New Mexico. Is that right?
Taos, New Mexico. We're doing a house concert and some workshops down in Denver. We're playing a concert in Albuquerque, and then a couple of dates in Texas to finish it off.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk another anecdote about back in your early 20s when you got to go compete against the Celtic finest from over in Europe there, which is a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, once again, I'm kicking it with Chris Buckley of The Here and Now. I'm going to flash the website on the bottom because I'll probably butcher it if I try. I'm going to try it. The Here and Now musicatx.com.
That's it. You nailed it.
Snap. All right, on that, we're going to take off the break. We'll be back with Chris Buckley in a moment.